What's going on, my Essential Units? It's the Sentiment here. So this is my review of Monday Night Raw for the 17th of November 1997. This show was in a small place in Canada called Cornwall, Ontario, outside of Toronto. The two Jims on commentary for the show, that is Jim Cornette and good old JR Jim Ross. So the show kicked off with Stone Cold Steve Austin coming down to the ring and calls out Rocky Maivia and the Nation of Domination. I think he said like you sucked and you ever sucked because the fans chant Rocky sucks. Anyway, so out comes the Nation of Domination, the leader of the nation, that is Farouk, Rocky Maivia, the future Rock, Kama Mustafa, the future Godfather, and D'Lo Brown. Rock kind of leave, and then you got Farouk, Kama, D'Lo coming down to the ring. Instead of like the three members of the nation coming down to the ring and beat down Austin, nope, they D'Lo and Austin kind of brawl. What I don't understand why Farouk and D'Lo not joining the beatdown. It's just basically D'Lo took the Stone Cold Stunner by Austin, and then Rock came back, stole Austin's Intercontinental title because at the time Austin was the IC champion. That's short for Intercontinental Champion, by the way. Defeat Owen Hart at Survivor Series, so Rock took the belt. The Nation left. Austin kind of threat Jim Ross. I think he says he kind of like the dolt giving me that local, something like that. He said he ain't safe. He came back seconds later, says, I ain't through, son. That's why he keeps calling something like his opponent, son. I think he dropped that. Anyway, so he said like, he ain't through. He's staying for the whole entire show, and we'll get to the main event. That'll be later on in this review. So anyway, the first match to kick off Monday Night Raw for the 17th of November 97. We got Mark Merrow with, at the time, his real life wife Sable in his corner, taking on Jerry the King Lawler. I think you got Brian Christopher briefly on commentary. We're still in the start of the whole storyline rivalry between Mark Merrow and Sable. They ended up feuding in 1998. The fans were chanting Sable because at the time, this is the start of like Sable is getting more of the attention in the expense of Mark Merrow. And then you got for the, I think it was the second Raw in the row, that Butterbean, his real name is Eric Ish, on commentary. Sable waved at Butterbean. Merrill got pissed off. He kind of got in the face of Butterbean. So anyway, I think I didn't write it down. I'll get to this whole thing between Merrow and Butterbean after I talk about this match. So. And there's nothing much to talk about. Yeah, Mark Merrow versus Jerry King Lawler, blah, blah. It was just a toilet break. That's the problem with reviewing these Raws. It's just feel like toilet break, bathroom break matches. In a 2022 standpoint, it was just like blah. It's more between Brian Christopher and Sable. You had the Brian Christopher trying to flirt with Sable. Showing his abs, even though he's not that like ripped. Anyway, so in the end, you had Lawler hit Merrow with the power driver. Sable came to the ring, choked Lawler with her riding crop. That caused disqualification. Mark Merrow got pissed off at Sable, and I think she removed her sunglasses and revealed that she's got a black eye. Holy fuck, they're doing a domestic abuse storyline. I'll get to that shortly. So, yeah, you had Merrow basically get in the face of Sable because he cost Sable cost Mark Merrow the match. Mark Merrow was never the same after the injury. I think he could still go, but like in the creative standpoint, he's never the same. Because of the whole wives getting attention, not the wrestler. By the way, Sable's the future wife of Brock Lesnar, so why you have Sable with a black eye? Don't worry, they're a couple. They're a couple. You know, they got married and ended up getting divorced, and then Sable marries Brock Lesnar. Her real name's Rena, by the way. So, who's a good idea to do this storyline? Hey, let's have a woman come out with a black eye. Holy shit, Vince Russo. Vince Russo. What the hell? What's that accomplish? Man, it's stupid. Next time they did a storyline with that, I think it was one of the head banners. This just came off the whole Beaver Cleavage character that was dropped, and some, I think it's was it I think his real name's Chas, or I think it was Marshall Thrasher or something. He beat like his girlfriend. That is completely stupid. That's Vince Russo booking. I hate that. Doing a domestic storyline, you know, on live TV, it's just never worked. You know, I understand. I don't mind the Jeff Jarrett stuff. Like, that was kind of fun. He didn't go around actually punching women in the face, giving them black eyes. You know, I think Jericho hitting China with a hammer. You know, it's just, you gotta be very careful. You know, because sometimes doing these type of storylines, these edgiest storylines, I don't mind the edgy stuff, but some of that end up really risking pissing off the wrong person. So that's my 2 cents. So, and then later on in the segment, later on in the show, my apologies, Mero came out and forced Jim Ross to do an interview, and he calls out Butterbean. He called him a fat hillbilly loser. He said like he's not really a boxer. I'm a real boxer. I think he's a 5-time Golden Glove winner. So Butterbean came down. You know, he was in the crowd. He came over the barricade and get into the ring to confront Mark Mero. He said like, don't like look at her, don't wave at her, and don't shove it in the arenas. So Mero pushed Butterbean. My apologies, I'm getting my words up. So anyway, Mero push Butterbean, and Butterbean pushed Mark Mero back. Oh boy, this is set up a match at DX in your house, and that was it. So you can tell like the fans are getting behind Butterbean, even though he's not a wrestler. He ended up doing the stuff in professional wrestling, like he was part of the Brawl for All, and then part of Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling. That'll be in a decade later. So that's my 2 cents on it. So it's just like, yeah, let's have like Mero, a former boxer, facing an actual boxer, Butterbean, who's not, you know, he's basically he ended up like going into MMA years later. So the next segment, this is a 2-part. You got Jim Ross interviewing Vince McMahon over the Bret Hart over the Montreal Screwjob. By the way, I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Get to the key points. Otherwise, this is gonna be a very long segment. Otherwise, just watch the segment. Just type in Jim Ross interview Vince McMahon Montreal Screwjob, and you probably find it. So basically, Vince is like mostly the whole 2 segments of this the 2 part of the segment. He's kind of rambling. I'm trying to my apologies. So anyway, so Vince just kind of like some portion of these segments kind of rambling, not get to the point. He said like Shawn Michaels did not screw Bret Hart. The referee did not screw Bret Hart. You had basically Vince McMahon he didn't say not screw Bret Hart. Vince McMahon screwed Bret Hart. The only person is Bret Hart screwed Bret Hart. He ended up saying, I think it's twice, saying Bret screwed Bret. He said like he's selfish. He doesn't pay the honor. He's not going to pay honor to the traditions. He doesn't give respect to the company that made him, the wrestlers that made him. And also kind of contradict himself, like he would have Bret Hart come back if he like tears up his contract. He brings up like his contract with WCW. He didn't bring up WCW. He did. No, he didn't. He didn't bring up WCW. He said about like his contract worth about, it was a 3-year contract worth about $3 million. You know, don't talk about Bret Hart's running WCW. That was disappointed, but yeah, it was free. Because Jim Ross bring up the 20-year contract. You know, everyone knows the story that Vince cannot pay Bret the you didn't have the financial resources to get to do to make the 20-year contract comes true. It's just what it is. It's because at the time the money was they didn't have because the Attitude Era, like the WWF in the later years in the 90s going into the 2000s, they got more successful because the money was up. The money was a bit down a bit. That's the reason why Vince cannot pay Brett. So anyway, so yeah, he said like he had no sympathy for Brett. He's just he's selfish. Yeah, he said Brett, and also he said like he never was the best. He said his catchphrase, "The best that is, the best that was, the best that ever will be." He said like he failed on his final match in the WWF. Bring up his match with Shawn Michaels. He failed. So, and that was it. So go check on the internet. So I'm trying to get to the key points. So yeah, he did contradict himself. He might apologize. Might talk. But it led up to, years later that Brett and Vince kind of publicly apologized to each other. That led up to Brett getting inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2006. And then they revived their rivalry in 2010. So it's just what it is. It's just like really established Vince that, I don't care about Brett. He doesn't care about the traditions, He said, I'm sorry for the, have to do for... He also said, like, in that interview promo, he said about like, oh yeah, the 14-year relationship ends because one member of the relationship, my apologies, one member of the relationships like forgot this is a sports entertainment business. Anyway, so this is led up Vince. You can tell he is developing the Mr. McMahon character. He's not that over the top character in later years. The Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era, the PG Era, a bit, and then he kind of took a back seat, in recent years before he left the company, until he retired this year. So I'm moving on to the next segment. So it was a good segment, by the way, but some portions of these two segments they're kind of like rambling. It's not like really not get to the actual point because, like I said, you're never gonna know about what the truly happened at Montreal. And also it brings out and also in the segment Vince had a black eye because in real life Brett actually punched Vince. This was after the Montreal Screwjob. He punched Vince in the eye. It brings out like he's got like a concussion. He's problems with his vision. It's just what it is. Go watch Dark Side not Dark Side. Yeah, I don't know if they did an episode of the Montreal Screwjob or of an episode of Dark Side of the Ring. Go watch his documentary called Wrestling with Shadows. So anyway, let's move on, man. I'm rambling, so let's move on to other like matches and segments of this Raw. So the next match we got Savio Vega and Miguel Perez represent Los Boricuas taking on Billy Gunn and Road Dogg of the New Age Outlaws. This is the first, I think it was the first Raw, and also they show like the Attitude Era promo commercial, and you can tell this is the first. You can say this is the first Raw of the Attitude Era. So anyway, let's get back to this match. Nothing much to talk about, and this is the first time they officially called the New Age Outlaws, Billy Gunn, and Road Dogg. Anyway, the match ended disqualification when other members of the Los Boricuas don't get it. They never got the fucking win. I'd rather have the New Age Outlaws getting the victory because Los Boricuas, they're not getting over, man. They're just basically a bunch of jobbers. So let's move on to the next match. So the next match, this is a six-man mini luchador match. Holy fuck, with Sonny as the special guest referee. Fucking hell, I'm gonna butcher these names. You had Max Mini, Nova, and Turus, taking on El Torito, Tarantula, I think it's Boltalion, I don't know. It's hard to pronounce his name, my apologies. Why are they doing this mini luchador division? It never went anywhere. The only reason why they're doing that because they're taking shots of WCW. They're taking shots of the luchadors in WCW. Guys like Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, Hufatu. I said it in my previous Raw reviews and probably one or two pay-per-views featuring the Luchadors on those pay-per-views. I think it was Grand Zero and Bad Blood. The match was non-contest, and the outcomes Kane, and then you got the head banners trying to confront Kane. Kane, I think he chokeslammed both the head banners, and I think he hit one of the head banners with a tombstone power driver. Putting over Kane, as this big threat. Building up to him against the Undertaker at WrestleMania 14. So, and then we got the DX promo. We got Ravishing Rick Rude in his final WWF appearance. I'll get to that later on. And then you got members of DX, also, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Chyna. Basically, he said about his match with Ken Shamrock last week was non-sanctioned. He didn't beat him. And in the start of this episode, you had footage of the aftermath of this Raw. It was ended with Sergeant Slaughter, going in the face of really helped Ken Shamrock win. So anyway, so he said about he wants respect. DX doesn't respect anybody, and he brings up he doesn't want to mention Bret Hart. He brings out he chased Bret Hart out of the company. He beat his family members. When I don't know if they cut it off or is it in the future Raws leading up to DX in Your House if they had the midget Bret Hart and also Neidhart Bulldog. Maybe on the I think it was on the 25th or the 1st. I don't know. I haven't reviewed these Raws yet. So anyway, so Triple H grabbed the mic. He kind of calls out Sergeant Slaughter. And, he said about, Sergeant Slaughter comes out, came to the ring, did the whole did the claps applause, and I think it says Skippy to clap the WWF chin boy. Yeah, for weeks now, DX calling Slaughter chinny chin boy because of his massive chin. Yeah, Triple H confronting, if you get in DX business again, there's gonna be hell to pay. He said about he brings up he didn't bring up Slaughter's name of his wife. He said about your wife, just not thrilled about his private parts. He said about he's going to his house and showed her his corporate marshal, Lance Corporal, something like that, and showing what the meaning of attention. So Slaughter had enough of DX's shtick. That Triple H and then the numbers game catch up with Slaughter. Chyna ripped, Slaughter's white T-shirt. I think they hit Triple H hit Slaughter with the I think it was the silver briefcase, and Triple H pedigreed Slaughter. Then they covered him with toilet paper, and that was it. And then did crotch chops afterwards. It's getting the DX guys over because over as an act. They'll get super over in 1998. Anyway, so like I said, this was Rick Rude's final WWF appearance. He showed up on WCW the same night because he ended up negotiating a contract with WCW. Like I said, he showed up on Nitro the same evening because he came out with a beard, and then by the time he showed up on Nitro, he had his traditional mustache. And I think in 98, he ended up shaved off the mustache once again. But anyway, it has to do with Montreal Screwjob. That really why he went to WCW. And then I checked a clip from the next week's Raw. You had Harvey Whipperman trying to be in the role of Rick Rude. Didn't work. Anyway, I think it's for the best, man. I think Rick Rude's time in DX was a bit of a mixed bag because who is the main muscle of that group? Is it Triple H? Is it Chyna? Is it Rick Rude? Even though Rude lost a bit of his muscle because he never wrestled since 1994. His final match was against Sting in Japan. But anyway, I think DX benefit without Rick Rude. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chyna. But it's a damn shame because he's another one. She never went to WCW. I know he had a successful run in WCW. Let's talk about his first run, but his second run, he didn't do nothing. He ended up being part of the NWO. and this is his final. And he ended up dying 2 years later at the age of 40. It's a shame. It's just what it is. I don't want to get into it. So it just makes no sense why he going to WCW, do nothing, and then I don't know he's training for his comeback, but unfortunately it never happened because he died. So yeah, it was just DX pulling himself over, being down the authority figure because they are crossing the boss. So anyway, moving on to this is a anyway, I forgot to write it down, but I'm gonna talk about anyway. This is another match of the light heavyweight championship tournament. Scott Taylor, the future Scotty 2 Hotty, taking on Eric Shelley. Sorry about my stumbling, speaking too fast, but anyway, so Scott Taylor versus Eric Shelley. The match was okay between Taylor and Shelley. It's more between Jeff Jarrett because Jeff Jarrett announced on the phone that he's going to make his comeback. Anyway, so in the end, Scott Taylor got the victory, and I think it was a jumping DDT for the win. He ended up part of Too Much and the Future Tool Call with Brian Christopher that became the hottest act, including Rikishi, and the rest is history. So at the time, it was an okay match. The other matches of the light heavyweight division tournament I saw was disappointed. It's just like you can tell it's not going to be on the same level as WCW's cruiserweights. It's just what it is. That's the reason why it's never caught fire. So and then we got this segment with Vader. It was supposed to be his match with Goldust. This time Goldust came out with, I think it was pink and gold, because the previous week he came out with blackface. That is absolute stupid. Anyway, he came out with a sling and a doctor's note saying he cannot compete. Vader cannot take Goldust's crap. He read the the doctor's note. He said he cannot compete, and then Goldust hits Vader in the head with the hammer. It was a hammer. The announcer says some kind of fallen object they can't see. You can tell it's a hammer. Wow. But anyway, still continuing this build of this rivalry between Goldust and Vader, because Vader really turned his back on Vader in that Team USA, Team Canada match at Survivor Series. So this is Goldust as a heel turn, as a heel. I mean heel turn, but sorry. I don't understand why they turned him heel. I think it has to do with Brian Pillman's death, because if Pillman did not die, I think Goldust will probably remain as a babyface, because yeah, he was, because it has to do with this whole story with Pillman and Marlena, Terry having sex in a motel room, but Goldust was better off as a babyface. He's just better off as a heel. I don't think so. I don't. In these early years of his run, he was kind of good. The gay stuff, and then by the time he was getting over, they turned babyface, and and the rest is history. So let's move on to this Sergeant Slaughter promo. And also, there's a video package of Ken Shamrock, putting him over, building up to his world title match against Shawn Michaels at at DX in Your House. And then we got Sergeant Slaughter coming out wearing all black jacket, black shirts, because his white shirt was ripped by the hands of China during a beatdown by D-Generation X. He comes out saying like he's done a good job as the commissioner of the WWF. He left behind his combat boots, his fatigue, his Cobra Clutch, that's his submission hold. And he said like when he was the commissioner of the WWF, people were booing him. I don't know why they're booing him, but you can tell like in the next couple of weeks or months, you can tell like he's gaining a lot of respect of the fans. I think Slaughter's better off as a heel. Go back to his 1999 one run as the heel, as the Iraqi sympathizer when he was the World Wrestling Federation champion. I think he does a good job. I think I don't mind as a babyface, doing the whole good old USA thing. But anyway, I think he was better off as a heel. Anyway, back to this promo. So He calls out DX mostly with Triple H and challenged Triple H in a match at DX in your house. It will be his fight of his life, and that's an order. I think he called him a maggot. And yeah, you know, it was just what it is. It was short and simple. Wasn't memorable, but it wasn't shit. You know, it's just like it was just simple and effective. You know, building up this rivalry between Triple H and Sergeant Slaughter. And then we got the main event, folks. We got Rocky Maivia, or The Rock, taking on Dude Love. Before that, and then you got all his nation buddies. You know, Farouk, Karma, D'Lo in his corner. I think this is the second time he's like calling himself The Rock, because in the last week's promo he just called him. He just started calling him The Rock. You know. Yeah, he said about, he put himself over, by the way. He said, before that, he said this match is a non-title match. Yeah, but he's a bit of a dumbass because you're not the champion. The commentary, I think it was Cornette or Jim Ross, saying like you're not the champion because he stole the belt from Stone Cold Steve Austin from the beginning of the show. He said like he's basically put himself over like he was the best intercontinental champion. And you know, and also he said The Rock is many things. A thief is not one of them. And people wants The Rock, and The Rock answered those praises. And Cornette with that good line says, you know, he's talking to himself in the third person, who's The Rock. And yeah, I think because you can tell that he's still like bringing up his character. His character's not really getting over yet. He's still like developing his Rock character. You know, he's still in that Nation of Domination Rock. You know, he was Rocky Maivia Rock. You know, in 1996, and then in the summer going into the last portions of 1997, he was part of the Nation of Domination Rock. He's not The Rock. You know, he'll get more popular in 1998 and beyond. But yeah. Saying Cornette, yes, like hearing Cornette, like, you know, is he talking? What? Who's The Rock? You know, is he talking to himself? So like that. I'm trying to remember the promo, but you know, like they're just like, who's The Rock? You know, and you know, I think Rock is a good promo. You know, it was just. I know, by the way, the match sucked. It's more Rock talking than the actual match itself. You know, like I said, he's facing Dude Love. The match was just okay-ish. In the end, Doolov hit Rock with a double armor DDT, and then out comes the Nation, beating down Doolov, and then Rock. I'm gonna call him Rock for now on. You know. I think he will. I think he will be called the Rock Rocky Maivia. Then by the time I think it was like around 98-ish. Was it the beginning parts of 1998? He'll ditch the Rocky Maivia name. He'll just be called the Rock. You know. I'm glad like he can't stand the fans calling him Rocky sucks. You know, it's way better than Die Rocky Dies. Like, I know they cut off the portion of Die Rocky Die chants off the network because for the best, you know, it goes too far. You know, it was a hostile environment. You know, but say like wishing upon. I know it's wrestling is, you know, choreographed it, but he doesn't like seeing like, oh, die, something die. It's just, come on now, you know. You see Sideshow Bob's saying die Bart die, but anyway, so he's a murderer. You know, I know it's a cartoon, but anyway, so you know, you can tell like, you know, they'll end up calling Rocky when he was the babyface. So anyway, so the heels are like beating down Doolov, Farouk whipping Doolov, Rock trying to hit Doolov with the IC title. Out comes Stone Cold Steve Austin came to the rescue. Austin and Doolov, you know, clean house, and that was the end. So the match was okay. Like I said, if it was 1998, or if it was 98, 99, they haven't really fought in 2000, but if it was 98 or 99, it would be the hardest feud. But since it was 1997, Doolov, Mick Foley was not quite, it was over, but not over. The Rock was still fighting himself as a character, you know, doing the Rock gimmick. This is the early days of the Rock gimmick. But they'll get popular in 1998. The Rock will get over in 1998, you know, going into Survivor Series of 98, you know, Deadly Games tournament, rock bottom. The Raw, the first Raw of '99, that was the officially end of the Monday Night Wars. You know, like the blood. You know, like Shivani give out the results of that Raw, and plus the match of the Royal Rumble, the I Quit match, the empty arena match at halftime heat. That was during the Super Bowl. Super Bowl. My apologies. And also they fought at St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Plus, I think it was a ladder match on Raw. You know, they had like better They had end up having good matches in, don't know about '98, but mostly in 1999. So because of like Mankind Rock was kind of a hot act, so like the hot rivalry of '99. But back in '97, finding a way as characters, you know. So anyway, okay, Raw. It's a bit better than last week's Raw from the 10th of November's, you know, the post Survivor Series Raw. But this was really okay-ish for what it is. Promos, the matches was just crappy. That's the problem with these Raws in 1997, in the 90s. It's just piss break matches. They're not got enough time to flesh it out. It was more focused on the entertaining side of professional wrestling. You know, focus more on the segments than the wrestling, because WCW, you got some segments, but it's mostly a wrestling show. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy it. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button, click the like, click the bell. Subscribe to the Central Mind Network on YouTube for more wrestling videos and more. 2 more Raws to go. I feel I'm packing it in. I feel like I'm burnt out doing this. I've been doing it since the spring of this year. You know, I said I will end the 1995 or 1997 Raw reviews when Raw did the first Raw with the scratch logo, and that was it. You know, trying to round up WWF in 1997. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.